Have you ever experienced a family drama that happens when someone passes away and their financial house wasn't in order? You got family members fighting over everything. Well, in today's episode of the Wealth Twins Show, we're going to talk about trust and how it can help you avoid that family drama, save money and time also. Let's jump into it. Nicole, what are some lessons you learned from setting up your own trust that people can use too?
Well, the first lesson that I learned when it came to trust is that it's not a straightforward process and it will take longer than you think. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
this is not something that's going to be a one day thing. It requires a lot of self reflection because trust, yes, they protect your money, they protect your assets, but they accomplish so much more if you do it correctly because they are a set of instructions for your whole life, exactly what you want to do, not just with money, but also with your health, with your children, with everything you consider important and worth protecting. That's what a trust is for. So, the first lesson I learned was that a trust will take you longer than you think. So, the earlier you start it, the better.
Yeah, I had the same experience. You thought it would get done in like a week or two, but in all actuality, it takes months to do because there's a lot of back and forth with your lawyer and there's a lot of back and forth with your spouse. So you make sure you're on the same page. Now, I think when one of the things you said is that a trust is not only for wealth. Now, a trust does protect your wealth, and that's one of the reasons why you should set it up. Because a lot of people think a will is going to do what you want it to do and express your wishes, and they're going to be followed after your death. Most likely that is not the case. And if it is the case, it is going to go through a very expensive process. So it's better for you to set up a trust. Now, when it comes to a trust, one of the things that you have to understand is that you have people in your life that you want to take care of. That trust are the instructions for you to take care of them. But it also sets you up too when you cannot speak for yourself. One of the lessons I learned was to understand that you should have a health proxy inside of your trust. This is going to stop a lot of family drama when it comes to those times where people are very emotional, if that ever happens to you, right? When you're setting up a trust, one of the documents you set up is what do you want to happen if you are able to be put on life support or you don't want to be put on life support? What happens if you want or you're not able to verbally express how you want your care done? That is very important. That's one of the lessons I learned because I had to sit down and really think about that. And initially, I thought maybe the person who should make those decisions should be my spouse. But then, after sitting down and thinking about it, I said, you know what? I don't want to put that kind of responsibility on them because they're going to have a lot of other things they have to handle. I pushed that well, I gave that responsibility to someone else who I knew would think in a clear headed manner and would actually pursue what I wanted to happen in that situation if it ever arose. I would also say a lot of people come to us and they say, look, I don't want to spend the money now that I think it's going to cost for me to set up a trust through an estate lawyer. I want to go and get some kind of boilerplate trust that I can download online and fill that out because it's much cheaper. I would recommend not doing that simply because, like we said, there is a lot of details that go into a trust. A boilerplate copy, when it comes to creating a trust, is not going to cover everything that is very specific to your own situation. So it's worth spending a little more money now to make sure that all your wishes are detailed out and everything that you want to happen in regards to your money, in regards to your children, if you have children, in regards to your property, and in regards to your health is the way that you want it. Instead of saying, oh, let me get this basic template that everybody can use and just make sure, well, maybe it will maybe it will work out in the end, when just a little bit more will give you exactly what you want.
Now, I would say I kind of agree with you. I kind of not agree because I would
Okay.
have to say not all trusts are the same. That's another lesson that I learned,
Okay.
right? Nadia and I are twins. Very similar situation, but we have different trusts and different things that we want to happen within our trust. So that's one lesson that I learned. Even though we have similar lifestyles, her wishes might be different from my wishes. My husband's wishes might be different from her husband's wishes. So therefore, the trusts are different. And so that's why I say I kind of agree with Nani and maybe not so much. Because if you're in a situation when you are a parent and you have one child, your trust is not going to look exactly the same as mine. Okay. Or if you have no children, that does not mean you should not have a trust, right? You should have a trust if you have assets or something that you want to protect. And with that, maybe a boilerplate from one of the online companies. Maybe is that what you only need? Because one of the benefits between a trust and a will is that you avoid probate. So if that's the reason why you want to have a trust, maybe a boilerplate thing that can cover if you want a simple trust, maybe that's something you need. But if you have a more complicated situation, if you have more things you want to cover than just not being put into probate or have your loved ones being put into probate, then yes, I agree with Nadia. Take the time, research a good estate lawyer, and really take care of all those things that a trust can help you benefit from.
Now, another lesson I learned when we were setting up our trust was that you should have more than one level of person that you're going to have on different subjects in your trust, right? Now, what am I saying? So, let's say if there is a beneficiary that I want, right? Initially, the first beneficiary is my husband, right? But then what if my husband and I are traveling and the kids are not with us and something happens to both of us? Who is the next level down? And who would be able to take care of my children, or how would that happen? I had to go at least 2 to 3 levels down to make sure that my kids are covered in case something happens. So you have to think in more contingency plans too. You would just think, oh, automatically goes to this person. Oh, automatically goes to this person. But what happens if that person passes away before you do? You have to update that trust. So it's easier if you think of contingency plans and you go down different levels. And that was something that I was like, wow, I didn't even think about that. And that only came up because when you have a more detailed discussion and you're sitting with your spouse or your partner and you say, this is what I want to happen. This is what we have set up so far. But what if? That was a lesson I think will save a lot of time and a lot of drama if you detail that out in a trust to make sure your wishes are known.
Yeah, I think one thing now that you're saying that, one, the best person for one part of your trust is not the best person for another part of
I
your
agree.
trust. So the same person I will have to manage my investments is not the same person I might have to help my kids. Okay, so you have to really sit down. It's a moment of self-reflection. That's really is what a living trust is, right? Because if you have a partner, let me tell you, you're gonna really have to have those deep conversations. I didn't realize that. That's one of the lessons I learned. The trust forces you to be very reflective and see what type of values you and your spouse or whoever you're going to have in that trust with you have, to see if you're on the same page. So that is something to understand when it comes to one of the lessons I learned. It was like kind of like sitting down and having a moment where me and my husband were like, okay, this is really what we see going forward. Okay. Now, another lesson I learned, and I don't think many people talk about this, is that I don't have an irrevocable trust. I have a revocable one. And that's also called a living trust. And when that part of the living is what really needs to be emphasized, because as life changes, you also need to change that trust. It's not a one and done thing. So that's one lesson you need to understand. A trust is not a one and done type of thing, unless maybe if you're doing an irrevocable trust, okay? Because if you get divorced, you better make sure you change that trust, because the next person that you might marry or the next person your significant other marries will be able to take part of that trust if you don't set it up correctly. So like Nadia was saying, those contingencies matter. So you have to sit down and really think about all these things to make sure even your children's spouse would be able to get part of a trust if you don't set it up correctly. So those things, if it's living, make sure you always are updating it when your situation changes.
Now, I think a lot of people might not understand everything that goes into a trust, but think about everything that is valuable to you that should go into a trust, right? So you can put cars into a trust. You can put artwork into a trust. You put property into a trust. You put your bank accounts into a trust. You can put your retirement accounts into a trust. Anything that is valuable to you should go into a trust. And then you can set time limits on when this stuff is paid out. And especially if you have kids, how old should they be before the first payments start? And then how long should those payments go on? These are things that go into a trust. I was one of the things that I found very surprising because I didn't realize how many things should go into a trust, including businesses, right? So those things I think it's a lesson people need to understand. It's just not about property and it's just not about money. It's about anything that you find that is valuable to you that you think should be passed down to your family and you want to make explicit instructions about who that should be passed down to, how and when.
Yeah, I think another lesson that I learned with actually thinking about a trust and coming up with the idea that we should get one was that it does not have to be aspirational and it does not have to be a flex. It's for when you want to be responsible and you have your money in order. Okay. So a lesson before you think that a trust is just about generational wealth and it's about flexing, there's steps that you need to take before. Get your money in order. Have stuff that's worth putting in the trust. Okay, that's a lesson I learned. Don't sit up there and waste your money and go to a lawyer that's going to charge you a few $1,000s if you have nothing that should be in that trust. Okay, so have your financial house in order because it's not just savings. Because if it's just a bank account that you're going to leave to your family members, you can get that done with just a beneficiary that you can just write down on the bank account. Same thing with investment accounts. You can have it where you put a beneficiary that can also take you out of probate. But if you really want to set up a trust and set up a flex before the flex happens, make sure that you're leaving something of importance to the people that you really want to leave it to. And then on top of that, if you don't have assets, like we said earlier, a trust is also can be used for your healthcare needs, for your directives on who's going to be the power attorney. Those things like that can be put into a trust so that if something was to happen to you and you weren't physically able to speak for yourself or mentally capable to speak for yourself, that trust can speak for you.
I would say another lesson I learned is how easy it is to have everything planned out versus what it's like when someone does not have a trust and they pass away. We had a relative who passed away a couple of years ago, and we thought things were going to work smoothly, and it was sudden. And we thought the financial situation was going to work out smoothly because they had property and everything. This turned out to be very difficult because depending on who you are in relation to that relative determines how much say you have in their estate, right? So if you have someone who is closer in lineage to that person, they are going to have more say. So, for example, say this person is your uncle. If they had any siblings or they had a spouse, they're going to be higher in line to you than you are if you're just a niece or nephew, right? Even if you're the person who lived with that uncle for years or whatever, if they had nothing detailed out, you are not the first person in line to even handle any of the financial affairs or have anything actually handed over to you. It also, if you are one of the people who think a will is fine, when you go and say, okay, maybe there was a will, you're going to have trouble if they didn't do it properly trying to find that will. And then that will has to be verified to see if it's an actual authentic copy of the will. And then it's going to have to go to a judge for probate, right? Especially, I'll speak from New York terms because every state has its own different probate rules. In New York, I think if you have property that is, or anything that is over 30,000, worth over 30,000, especially property, or your estate is worth over 30,000, it's going to go to probate court. And there is such a backup in probate court right now, it could take years for you to go through that. So, thinking that things are settled and they're not, it's so much drama that can actually be avoided so easily just with probably a month of work. If you really want to be dedicated to getting this done, it probably takes less than a month to get it done.
I mean, the lesson I think we both learned was that even though it's annoying to set up a trust, it is because you got to do all the homework, you got to get all the paperwork together. A lot of setting up a trust is getting paperwork together,
Yeah,
right? Understanding what accounts you have. But the peace of mind that comes afterwards
I
is
agree.
something is it makes it worth it. So that the little bit of money that you would spend, the time that it's going to take in the long run, it is worth it. Because afterwards, like I said, all you have to do is update it if something changes. And it's not just bad changes, it could be positive changes. You own another home or you get more assets. You just want to keep those updated. So, with that, the lesson is that short term sacrifice, maybe just a month or two, it actually took us about 6 months, but that was trying to get
That's
the
because you were
schedules
slow.
together.
It took me like 2 months.
Yeah, well, I got more assets,
Oh,
but but with that, the long-term peace of mind that comes with that, it is definitely worth it. So I know a lot of people that we talk to, a lot of our students talk about should they get a trust, and they tell us that it could be a few thousand, right? But is it worth it? If you really have something to protect, it is worth it. It's that short-term sacrifice to make that long-term peace of mind. But
I
I
agree.
would say I don't. Maybe it's based on the state. I'm not sure. But not all estate lawyers. This is another lesson I learned. Not all estate lawyers are the same. So make sure you do your research. They seem to have around the same price, and a lot of them tend to be expensive, but the most expensive one does not mean they're the best one. Okay, so don't just go based off of price, go based on what they're offering. So make sure you do your research beforehand and then go in and ask the questions you need to ask. And I think a consultation with an estate lawyer would be worthwhile. So before you drop the money to actually pay for a trust, it's much better to actually ask for a consultation so you understand what they're offering compared to another one. That's some of the best money you will be spending.
Yeah, I would agree. And guys, if you guys know you want to put more stuff into a trust, but you only have right now maybe your 401k or other retirement accounts, and you want to learn how to build up your wealth so that you can put more assets so that it would be worthwhile to have a trust, then make sure you join the Wealth Pack. It's our free newsletter that you can join, and we make sure, just like any other pack, that no one's left behind. You can click the link in the description and below to make sure you join, okay? And like I said, it's free to join and will help give you information to help you build your wealth so that you actually have something to put in the trust so you're leaving your family more than something than drama.
Yeah, I think, guys, if you notice, especially with this channel, Dottie and I, we really try not to talk about things from theory point. We talk about things that we're doing in our life and things that we have done. So if you appreciate that type of information, appreciate that point of view, then also subscribe to the channel and share it with someone you care about, because we really do want to spread the message of how you can build sustainable wealth and also how to protect that as well by talking about real things that we're doing and not just hypothetical situations. Okay. So if that's something you care about, then, support us.
Yep. And if you've been through the experience of having family drama because someone passed away and their financial house wasn't in order, then make sure you follow the advice in this video and get your situation straight so that your family doesn't have to go through the same thing, because you know how that is. That can break up families. People don't speak for years, and it's something that's easily avoided. Okay? And with that,
Yep.
guys, we'll hope to see you in the next video.